All right. Welcome to the Divorce Talk podcast. This show is the ultimate guide for divorcing or divorced dads ready to rebuild, redefine, and reestablish themselves in their new normal. Divorce is hard, and being a single dad after divorce is even harder. I'm Jared from Jared Blanchard Divorce Coaching, and I am the host of the show. I'm glad you're here. I've been where you are, divorced and a single dad, wondering how the heck I was going to get through it. I know the feelings that follow the breakup, and I know a lot of the stressors that you're about to face. Whether you're navigating co-parenting, rebuilding your confidence, redefining who you are as a divorced man, or just trying to make sense of your new normal, you are not alone, and this is the place for you. Welcome to the Divorce Talk podcast. My name is Jared Blanchard. I am your host, and let me just make sure I'm centered. All right, that's pretty good. All right, I'm using the rear camera on my iPhone, which means I don't get to see the screen. So this is kind of a new thing for me. I should set it up so where I've got another screen monitoring it, but I don't have that set up yet. So this is what we got to do for now. All right, guys. Well, welcome to the show. It's been a minute since I posted anything. A lot of transition has happened since the last episode. I ended up moving to a new city and ended up quitting my job, ended up diving full-time into this coaching business that I'm building, which I am so excited about and I love. The more people that I can help going through divorce, then the better and happier I will be. It's really what brings me the most joy. So, but yeah, just been settling in. I actually live out here in Salem, Utah now, and another basement apartment, which is okay. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I'm still trying to get on top of everything financially from my divorces. So, and the reality is that's what a lot of divorced dads will have to go through and will be experiencing. And from what I've seen, those that I've talked with and worked with, and also those that I see posting online, it's one of the biggest struggles of divorce is the financial side of everything. So there's that, and then there's losing time with your kids and not having the time that you want to have, that you feel like you should have, and maybe you're right. But it's a struggle because we don't get what we want in divorce, unfortunately. Not all the time. But hopefully, if you need extra help and you want to work with a coach, hopefully we can work together and I can help you get more, have your divorce be more of what you want it to be. Well, okay, so this week, you guys, what we want to talk about is the day it all changed. So going from married to all of a sudden you either moved out or your ex moved out and your kids are no longer with you and you've got a quiet night at home alone. One of the hardest things that a parent could experience and go through, and unfortunately that first night or that first week, it hits really hard, and it can get easier mentally and emotionally, right? It can get a lot easier because you can start to get used to it and you start to figure out what works and you know, making the most out of the new schedule. But that first week of loneliness and quietness in your house is hard, and everybody experiences it different, although there's a lot of shared emotions through it all. It might be different for everybody. Maybe you get to speak with your kids, you know, on a FaceTime call or something. Maybe you don't. And I want to know how it went for you guys. I've been divorced more than once, but my divorce that happened 3 years ago with 4 kids involved, we lived in Arizona at the time, and I had offered to my ex to move out to Utah after our divorce so that we could all be out there closer to her parents. And her parents, she's from Utah, and so I wanted to make it easier for her and make it easier for our kids. And she loved that idea, of course. And so once we got to the point where she was able to pack up all of the things that she wanted to take, she was able to pack up and move out with the kids. And I had about a month at home in the house where we had all lived together. I had about a month without the kids alone. So it sucked so bad, and it was so hard, and I felt bad every night because my kids didn't have the life anymore that they had, and the security and safety and security of the family dynamic and the family unit that we had, that was gone for them. Now, the comfort and the solace that I had in this was that I knew it would be better for them long term, but then I also knew that where they had moved, they were actually moving in with their mom's brother and his family. So they were actually moving in with other cousins too. So I knew that was actually going to be really fun for them. And you know what? It honestly was probably the best thing that could have happened for them at that time, because it softened the blow big time. They automatically got to be around more family more often. Grandma and grandpa, they were a lot closer. They got to be around them more often. And it just made things so much better for them. I honestly feel like that was probably the secret, or like the key to the divorce not being as negative for my kids as it could have been. So that helped me feel a lot better. And like I said, I got to talk to them. I got to FaceTime them. That was, fortunately for me and for our kids, that was actually a priority that my ex held on to as well. So for her and I both, it mattered to us that our kids still had as many conversations with the other parent as possible, that they still got time with both parents, that it was, as less of a change for them as we could make it. That's what we wanted to do. So, but I had about a month at home in Arizona in our house before I ended up moving back out there. But let me tell you one other thing that I did, and this is not a bad idea. It helped me. I feel like it helped me with the whole process. But after a month and I was able to pack up and be ready to go, I actually went on a 1-week vacation myself. I had been invited by a friend for years and years and years to go out to go visit, because my friend lives in Cancun, and I've never been able to go out there. It just never worked out that I'd go out there and do that, with or without my wife and kids. And so I just had not ever done it. But once this divorce happened and they were actually already in Utah, I was like, hey, dude, how about now? Like, is now a good time? He's like, bro, get out here. So it was actually really cool. So I went out there to Cancun, Mexico, where he lived, and stayed with him for a week. And he showed me around, and we got to spend some time at the beaches. And we were actually there over the Mexican Independence holiday. So that was actually really fun too, to get to see some of the Mexican culture and, their holiday. And it was a lot of fun. And it was good for me to kind of get out of that negative, harsh headspace that I was in, of this drastic change that we were going through in our family, and give me a chance to kind of, loosen up a little bit and experience, fun me time, which I needed, because any positivity, any positive experience, fun, joy, whatever, the beach is healing for people. And it really was for me too. And also the Mexican culture, because I had met this friend on my mission a long time ago, where I spoke Spanish and taught primarily Mexicans on my mission. So it was really healing for my soul to go back to the Mexican culture and spend time there amongst the music, the language, the people. It was amazing. So it was a good kind of closure to my time in Arizona, married, to then a good reset for me moving forward in a new state, new world, new job, new dynamics, new family dynamics, new living arrangements, new everything. But I was able to give myself a good reset, a good emotional, kind of like a reset or a break, and a charge moving forward. So that was actually really nice. It was really helpful. And if there's any way that you guys could do that, I definitely would recommend that. Your situation might be different, of course. I had a friend that lived there, so I just had to get out there, but otherwise then I had a place to stay. So financially, something that has to make sense, of course. Finances are always an issue when you're going through a divorce. But if there's anything that you can do on some kind of a scale of giving yourself kind of an emotional reset or an emotional vacation, so that you can now move on to the next phase, kind of reset and ready to go. That would be very helpful for you. So if at all possible, I would definitely recommend that. So I had a week in Cancun and then moved as soon as I got back, loaded up the truck. My dad and I drove my my stuff up to Utah, and how he helped me move in, and then it was okay. Now I'm here in Utah in my new place, and that's where I got a, what did I get? 2 bedroom, 2 bath apartment in Draper, and it was I actually ended up, fast forward, I was only there for a few months, and then I needed to move again because my son from my first marriage was coming up to live with me, which was actually really cool. But so I personally had to, move out to move out to Utah, and then just a few months later had to move again. But I ended up getting a house with 3 beds this time so that I could have my other son with me too. 3 beds, 2 bath. That was in Sandy. I was just less than like 2 miles away from my kids, really close to their school, and it was nice. And so then I had to, start that transition period, got a new job, all the things. And my new job was me trying to now build a real estate business in a new market, which didn't work out like I had hoped. But then I ended up, because of that, needing to get a job. And so I went back into roofing, got a job with a roofing company, and then, was able to get on my feet a lot better then. So the transition is hard, but it's not the end of the world. It feels like it, and sometimes it's overwhelming, but it's a chance to start new. For me, one of my favorite things about the whole process of the divorce, and now all of a sudden having my my nights alone, my days alone at my house, was it was time to focus on me when it was just me, and it was time to focus on me and my kids when it was me and my kids. That was a new thing that I was actually really excited for. And I've said it before too, but I have one daughter in particular that it was like 50 first dates every day, trying to get her to like me all over again. She was young at the time. She was probably 4. But from the time she was an infant, it was hard for her to be happy, like connected with me. She cried all the time. She wanted her mom all the time. She had a heart defect, and so she had had a couple open heart surgeries. And, life was rough for her physically, probably emotionally. But then when the divorce happened, I was able to have one-on-one time, or just me and my kids, time with just me and my kids, to where I could focus on those relationships. And that relationship with her has drastically changed for the better, to where now she is probably among the 3, probably the most consistently, like, affectionate and cute and jokey with me, and all the things that a dad would want with their daughter, in a relationship with their daughters. I have that with her now. And so as difficult as it has always been for us, doing this whole transition, this process, as difficult as it's been, it has had so many beautiful things come out of it. And so if I can just give you that much hope, if I can give you that hope that, as hard as it is, things will actually, they'll get better with time, and they might even get better than you could have ever imagined. So don't get me wrong, I'm still struggling with a lot of things. There's a lot of things that are hard. Every time the kids go back to their moms, and that first night again with the kids, without the kids, in my house alone, in quiet, it sucks. It sucks all the time, actually. Um, until then I can refocus my attention on work or whatever I'm doing, things that I need to do. But in the quiet moments, it's hard. It doesn't have to necessarily go away, and it might not go away, but it can certainly get easier and better. Um, another thing that I would really stress is that from the onset of your divorce, in order to mitigate the pain and the difficulty of everything, you need to focus on your communication with your ex, and not making things worse. You need to focus on, it needs to be a priority to have good communication and to put your kids first. Make it very clear to your spouse, your ex-spouse, that you're putting your kids first, that this isn't about you and that your focus is on them and that you care about her being happy and her, you do not want to give any indication that you're trying to stick it to her, because any of that, then it'll just be met with more contention. And if you guys keep going back and forth with contention, then things will just get worse. And, it could be much more detrimental to you, your parenting time, to your relationship with your kids. It could be much more detrimental to all of that. And so from the get-go, make good communication with your ex be a priority. And as hard as that is, there's ways to do it. And there's ways to do it that, maybe alone, it's really hard to figure some of these things out. This is where, I went through my divorces alone. I never had anybody helping me with it, but that's where I come in. If you want, we can talk about it, but there's tools, there's strategies, there's methods that you can employ from the get-go to improve your communication, to have good communication with your ex. And you'll be able to see rewards, good fruit come from that. So that's the other thing of advice that I would give you, is make sure that you need to do your best to not have the tit for tat mentality, to not have the anger lead your actions and guide your actions. Divorce is very emotional. And if you are letting the emotions get the best of you and control your actions, it's going to make things worse for you. And so those lonely nights, those sucky moments where you feel alone and you feel, maybe you feel angry or you feel hurt, because most of the time, us men didn't ask for the divorce. Most of the time it happened, it kind of surprised us maybe even. And so our world has literally been flipped upside down, and it can be very easy to be angry and hurt and mad. But do your best, okay? Do your best to not be angry or to not let that rule your actions. Okay, divorce is emotional, but it's also very transactional. And there's a business side of divorce that now needs to be the focus. And the business side of it means keep your emotions out of it. And let's make sure we're doing what's best for your kids, best for you, best for the outcome that you want out of all of this. Divorce doesn't have to just happen to you. It can happen for you as well. And so if you want to be in control of how things go, then there's things that you have to proactively do and think about ahead of time, and things to put in place and strategies to put in place as far as communication. And that's the biggest thing that I can think of. That's the biggest thing that you can do with your ex, is have really good communication, really good documentation, putting the kids first, making the most out of your time that you have with the kids, and then the time that you don't have the kids, make the most out of that time, whether it be for work or your profession, whether it be to compile documents and then evidence or whatever is needed for your certain situation that you're in. But there's a lot of things that it's go time. It's time to do, instead of just sitting back and woe is me and my life sucks and it's hard and things are just going to keep happening to me now. Nope, we get to be proactive about it. We get to be on top of a lot of what happens. And so let's do it. If you need to do it together, I'm here to help if you want to explore that option as well. If you want to just keep following along with any of the content or things that I can put out there for you, I hope that you can gather a lot of value out of what I share. If you need a therapist to work through some emotions and trauma from the past, I highly recommend that. If we need a divorce attorney to get involved, then I recommend that as well for all the legal things. But the day-to-day decision-making, emotional things that come up that you might struggle with or need help with, then I would love to help you out with that. So reach out, let me know if I can. But otherwise, let's do our best to take care of our kids, to make the most of our time with our kids, and to let our kids be kids and have those experiences that other kids get to have still too, right? The kinds that put smiles on their faces, that they'll be still excited about talking about once they're grown. And we want the divorce to not be the exclamation point on their life. We want it to be something that happened, but that they were still able to enjoy life through it. And that's what we want for them. So anyway, I hope this helps. Like I said too, the time, as soon as that divorce hits and you're alone in your house, your new place, whatever, it's hard. So it's hard for everybody in different ways too, but we do share the struggle. I know what it feels like. It happens. Even there's a lot of things that can trigger it too. Like spending time with other family and your nieces and nephews, and then seeing all that, and then again at the end of the day, everybody goes home and you go home and you're alone again, and it hurts all over again. So I get it, but I'm here for you. So let's work together. If you feel like it could be of value to you, let's do it. But otherwise, do your best to think about what will be best for your kids, and just employ those strategies to make it still as good as you can when you've got them. And then hopefully too, with good communication with your ex, seeing that you're not trying to be contentious, then hopefully, the communication with the kids, even when they're at the other parent's house, that can still happen, and it can kind of help ease the pain a little bit for you in the process too. So anyway, I hope this helps. Reach out if you want to chat, if you got something specific you want to work through. Otherwise, I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys. All right. Thanks for tuning in to the Divorce Talk podcast. I hope you enjoyed it and got something from it that will help you in your own divorce journey. If you found this helpful or even just mildly entertaining, subscribe, leave a review, give the show a rating, and share it with another dad or anyone else who needs it. Make sure you follow me on Instagram at jb.divorcecoaching and on YouTube, where I break down each of these bigger topics into more specific thoughts and tips. If you want to connect, send me a DM and let's see how I can help you on a more personal level. Until next time, keep showing up, keep moving forward, and remember, you're doing better than you think. See you next week.